Hello, welcome to another video. So this is going to be a kind of holiday vlog. I am heading off to Spain. Today is Saturday, I fly on Monday and I'm away until the following Saturday. So I've got about a week in Spain. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to have no contact, no work, literally just going to be sat on the beach each day. It's going to be delicious. Now, for reasons best known to myself, in my head I'm going to be reading like 50 books. Let's be honest, I won't. But I am only going to be taking my Kindle. So I don't actually have a TBR for this week. I don't really have any reading plans. The sensible thing to do would be to read books that are on my TBR that I have digitally. Do I ever do the sensible thing to do? No, I do not. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up reading. I'm currently reading The Marriage Act by John Mars. I don't think I'm going to have that finished before Monday, so I probably will. Oh, hey Bella. Probably will be reading that one when I leave. I also have When the Moon Hatched, which I'm listening to, and I also have that one on ebook. So I think I'm probably going to sort of do a combo read of When the Moon Hatched because I'm partway through it anyway. So that's my current reads. Digital books on my TBR that I could pick up. We've got Spark of the Everflame, probably won't read that. Tender as the Flesh, might read that. Kind of want to read Guilty by Definition by Susie Dent. Don't know if I'll get to it. I think my plan is I'm sort of gonna maybe even alternate between a KU book and an ARC, and neither of the above. a Kindle book that I've bought, and just sort of kind of do a bit of a mood read week really. I have loads of books on my Kindle. I just rarely gravitate towards ebooks, so yeah, I'm excited to see what there is, read a few books, have some fun and just relax basically. I don't know quite how long this vlog's going to be. I don't know how many updates I'm going to feel like doing. I might film lots. There might be lots of b-roll. There might be nothing at all because I might not do any updates. Who knows? Certainly not me. But yeah, that's this vlog. That's the plan of this vlog. Let's be honest. That's all I'm going to say because I don't know anything else. But yeah, I'm going to stop this intro now. I'm probably not going to film again until, might film something at the airport, probably won't. Probably the next time you're going to see me, I'm going to be in Spain. Hello, good morning. I'm in Spain. So I have only just woken up, but this is my view. There's the sea. Pretty good. I'm going to give you a bit of like a flat tour. I'll just come tell you what's going on. So yeah, today's Tuesday. I arrived last night. My flight was delayed by like 3/4 of an hour, but we got in, and then I had to get the train over here, which took a while, but that was like an hour and a half, so I didn't get in until about 8 o'clock last night. Then went out for dinner, which was so good. But yeah, this is my bedroom. Let's continue on the way. We have the terrace, which is very nice, and we're just going to come down to, I've got the washing machine going. So this is actually my aunt's flat. So I'm in the kitchen at the moment. And basically she lets like any family use it with the idea that you kind of leave it for the next person. So I'm doing the laundry that was left from the last people who stayed here. So it's like just bed sheets, and then I'll leave my bed sheets for the next person to wash. So, oh shit, there's a bigger stair there than I thought there was. The living room is down here, and there's another bedroom up there. But yeah, here we are in the kitchen. It's so nice here. It's super chilled. I've not actually done anything yet. It's like 9 o'clock. I've got up, I've been reading my book, And that's about it. I'm gonna, once my laundry is done, I'm gonna basically hang that out, and then I'm gonna probably go down to the beach, and I think I need to go to the shop and get some food and things like that as well. But yeah, all good so far. Reading wise, let's give you a reading update because, you know, booktuber and all that. Yesterday I finished reading The Marriage Act by John Mars. I'm not 100% sure what I think. It was okay. It was okay, but it wasn't great. I don't think it's my favourite John Mars, particularly not speculative one. I mean, I've only read the one by John Mars in his kind of speculative series, but I loved that one. I have read another John Mars. I've read The Stranger in Her House, which is one of the small thriller ones. I didn't love that one so much. It was a lot slower paced. Yeah, I felt like with The Marriage Act, the idea was really fascinating, but I wasn't intrigued enough throughout it. I felt like we kind of had a lot of build up to then a bit of a flat ending. But yeah, I had a decent time reading that one. And then yesterday on the flight I was reading When the Moon Hatched. I am 60% through When the Moon Hatched so far. Again, I'm not 100% sure what I think. I don't think it's going to be a new favourite. I'm glad I'm reading it on KU and I haven't spent all the money on a physical copy, because it does feel quite like a kind of self-pubbed KU indie fantasy where every chapter ends on a cliffhanger. It feels almost episodic in nature, and that isn't my favourite type of story to consume. I prefer my story to flow a little bit more than be kind of really, like I said, like episodic. So with this one, I sort of feel like we're on like the third act of the book, so I'm 60% of the way through. We've met Rave, who was an assassin. She then got arrested and rescued by this bloke, and then ended up being thought to be someone who's going to like save the world, and she ended up in another trial to fight for the death, and now she's in another place, and it just feels like it's a little bit all over the place. And yes, my description was bad there, like that's just fair. But yeah, I feel like it's not, I can't really tell you what the plot of the book is, because there's been so much that's happened that feels, at the moment, that feels like it's happened to take our character to a point rather than happened to add to the plot of the story. I don't know if that makes sense. Kind of makes sense in my head. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that in the fantasy that I enjoy, any dramatic thing that happens is furthering the plot, whereas in here it feels like a dramatic thing is happening to move a character to a specific point rather than to further the plot. Because, for example, her time in prison doesn't actually seem to be important to the plot. And her fight to be like the saviour, again, doesn't seem to be important to the plot. It seems to be that needed to happen so that another character would act in a certain way to move her to another place. So yeah, 60% of the way through. I'm going to finish the book. I am still enjoying it enough. Like I said, I'm not sure it's going to be a new favourite, but I do want to finish it and see what I think, and hopefully it will be a fun read at least. And then my plan today, I want to go down to the beach. Like I said, it is still early. I think it's only like 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's 9:10. So I'm gonna go down to the beach later. I'm going to do a bit of food shopping, wander a little bit of the town, kind of just sort of see what's going on everywhere, to be totally honest. I don't know what I want to read next. I might pick up a romance next, depending if I've got something that I want to read, probably in my ARC list, to be honest. Because I've just read a thriller, sort of sci-fi thriller. I don't want to read another one. I don't want to read another fantasy romance. So I want to read something different. But yeah, I don't know quite what I've got on my Kindle to read. I mean, I've got a lot on my Kindle to read. I don't have a huge amount that's actually downloaded. In fact, let's do a scan through. So KU, I've got Appetite for Innocence, that's a thriller. One Dark Window, interested in that one actually. Veiled Kingdom, Punk 57, Serpents on the Wings of Night, Tutoring the Player, Spark of the Everflame, Children of Fallen God, Home Run Proposal, and The Cock Down the Block. I think it might be one of these three. Next, on KU. Arcs, I've got a number of arcs. That one, which doesn't have a name, is the last thingy at the end of the world. I don't actually necessarily know what all of these are about. Tempted by Middle of the Night or Guilty by Definition. Could read Just for the Summer. Could read Four Weeds and a Funeral, although I might save that one for nearer Christmas. Read Powerless, that needs to come off here. Yeah, there's not a huge amount on there. And then my kind of randoms. Pumpkin Spice Cafe, I want to read. Tender is the Flesh, I want to read. These are just, like I said, this isn't everything on my Kindle, this is just what I have downloaded at the moment. So I feel like I've got some options on there. But we'll see when I finish When the Moon Hatched. Hello. I'm feeling very, very full. I've just come back from dinner and I ate too much. So I'm making myself a mint tea to hopefully kind of help settle my stomach a little bit before bed. Anyway, I thought I should probably update you. I have finished reading When the Moon Hatched. So thoughts on that one first. I don't know what I think. Not great to start, really, is it? Yeah, I don't know what to think, because there was quite a bit of the book where I was slightly rolling my eyes and I was kind of like, well, that doesn't really make sense. That's a bit convenient. The plot is a bit all over the place. And I do still stand by all of those comments and critiques. I think it does need editing. I mean, I picked up there was a line where our main character says that everybody is eloquently dressed. I'm like, no, you mean elegant, not eloquent. Eloquent is well spoken, elegant is smartly dressed. And it's just things like that, which again, I don't know if it's just because I'm reading the self-pubbed version, that actually in that hopefully traditional publisher has paid for an editor to pick up on just those little tiny mistakes, which I know makes me sound incredibly pedantic, but it does kind of take me out of the story when there is like just the wrong word is used, or you know, it's just something doesn't quite fit right. Sorry, I've gone in the dark now. So yeah, I kind of hope, oh no, that's the wrong button. Sorry, I accidentally turned the lights off then. Did not mean to. I don't know what that light switch does then. Okay, so yeah, I feel like an editor would pick up and correct those errors that I noticed. So I don't want to blame the book for editing errors, because I don't feel like that's fair on a self-published book. You know, again, I don't know whether the author had the means to have an editor, because, you know, so I'm not wanting to blame the book for the fact that it's not well edited, because it may not be edited. Anyway, that was a very long discussion to say really nothing. I did feel, and I know I said this earlier, I felt like the plot was a bit convenient at times, that things would happen that didn't actually have any relation to the overarching story plot. They just got the character from point A to point B. And so again, I think, which for me, I feel like for me that's quite a typical thing that seems to happen in debut novels. I don't believe this was the author's debut. But again, I don't want to be too critical of that, because it was self-pubbed, and I think that, you know, if it had been originally traditionally pubbed, an editor would have picked up on that and kind of like got it a little bit tighter. So the story itself, I did like. I thought it was quite unique. I didn't really understand the world, which for me is a problem. This one did have a lot of world building. So, you know, we had different words for things like days. And, you know, so we had like the aurora, I think was the sun. And so it'd be like each aurora fall, I think, was like sunset. And the slumber was night. I think, again, it wasn't really described enough for me to fully understand what we were saying. And same with the world, I felt like it could have done with like a prologue, or some, even like just like a couple paragraphs info dump of how this world works, because I don't understand why the dragons flew up into the sky and turned into moons. I don't understand how that works. I don't understand why some of them fall. I don't understand how some fall and some don't. Like, what keeps them there? What makes them fall? Why will some be there forever and some aren't? I also don't really understand the time. Because I got to about, I was reading it today, so it was about 60% of the way through, when suddenly the main character mentions she's a fae. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but since when? And what? Okay, you're fae now, right, okay, that's fine. But where's that come from? And what's going on with the age of people? Because I thought everybody was human. We had our main character who, we have these diary entries where the character in the diary is 5, and then we see her at 18 as an adult. Our main character seems to be about 20, but then she mentions she's a fae, and it's like, well, hang on, how old are you? And the love interest is suddenly also like, oh yeah, well, I've got 100 terms? No, 100 whatever, 100 phases, I think is a year maybe, whatever it was. And I was like, wait, what? Since when? I don't understand the timings. Because the other thing is, and again, I'm going to try and do this without spoilers, our male main character fell in love with this woman who he believed died, and then apparently 100 years passed, I think. I don't know, quite a lot of years passed, and he discovered that she's not dead, but neither of them seem to have aged. And she hasn't been alive the whole, like she hasn't, I don't know, I don't understand. So I feel like the world building was very all over the place. I did enjoy the plot, like I said, I think the plot was very unique. I am intrigued, I will continue the series. It's probably, I haven't put it through Corpal because I haven't. It's probably going to come out at like a kind of 3.5, I imagine. Maybe a low 4. I think it was enjoyable. I had a good time. There are just too many criticisms for me to rate it any higher than a low 4. But yeah, it was a fun one, and I'm glad I've read it. I did then also today put on my Instagram stories a poll to pick my next book, and I put up, the options I put up were One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig, Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas, The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore, and Tender as the Flesh, who I don't know who it's by. And Pumpkin Spice Cafe won that one by an absolute landslide. It got about 70% of the votes. So I am currently reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I read it while I was at dinner, and I'm now 25% of the way through. So yeah, again, nothing's really happened yet. I'm enjoying it. It's very small town Fall vibes. So we've got our main character who's taken over a cafe in a small town, and there is a grumpy farmer who delivered her pumpkins, and they now are friends. I think it's going to be like Grumpy Sunshine Friends to Lovers, I believe. Now, I hear that it's very spicy. It isn't yet, but who knows? Yeah, I could do with some spice. We'll just go back onto When the Moon Hatched. There was very little spice in it. Like, there was a strong romance plot line. It's definitely a romantasy. Actually, no, I'd say it's more of a fantasy romance. The difference between those two is I feel like romantasy, the plot lines of romance and fantasy are equal. Fantasy romance, in my mind, is a fantasy with a subplot of romance. Like, the romance plot line of When the Moon Hatched could not stand by itself, so therefore it's a fantasy romance. I don't know if that's a correct understanding, but that's how I understand it, and that's my decision that I've come up with. But yeah, the romance was there, but it was quite minimal. And when they did hook up, they did hook up. But again, it wasn't like the romance wasn't progressing the plot. But yeah, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, like I said, 25% of the way through so far. It's fun. I think it's a very short read. I don't think it's much over 300 pages. Like, how many pages is it? Let's see if my story graph will tell me. Oh, 384. Okay, that's longer than I thought it was. So okay, it's not a short read then. But yeah, having fun so far. It is okay. It's only 9:30. It's not as late as I thought it was. But I am going to just read a bit, drink my mint tea, lie down, and hope that my tummy feels a bit better before I can go to sleep. I have turned on the aircon. I am sorry if you can hear that, but I just need to cool the room down a little bit before I can go to bed. But I will speak to you in the morning. Okay. Hello, it's Wednesday. So it's currently like 3 p.m, 4 p.m. maybe. And I'm kind of, I haven't actually had an afternoon nap, but I've kind of just had like a couple of hours of just afternoon chill. And I'm kind of now just starting to think, what am I going to do? We've also just had like a storm, so we've had like a really gorgeous rainstorm, which has been very atmospheric. I might go down and have a swim. I might not. I haven't decided. Don't know what I feel like doing. But, reading update for you. I have finished reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I'm not 100% sure what I think of it. It is very cutesy. Like, there is smut, but it is very cutesy. It's very, very Gilmore Girls coded. Like, honestly, if you told me it was a Gilmore Girls fanfic, I'd be like, yeah, checks out. So we are following our main character, Jeannie, who she worked in like an office in Boston, didn't have any friends because all she did was work. Her aunt left her a cafe to run. So Jeannie's moved to this small town of Dream Harbour. Jeannie talks really, really fast and runs a coffee shop. She's lower like Gilmore coded. She meets Logan, who is a farmer, who's kind of grumpy, but actually a soft cinnamon roll. He's Luke Danes coded. There's town meetings, which again are very Gilmore Girls. Weirdly, the town mayor kind of decides things based on his dreams, which just, okay, fine, whatever. There's a fall festival. It is very, very Gilmore Girls-esque. And I liked it. I like that. Not quite the setting that I'm in right now, you know, I'm on the beach in 30 degrees heat. It's not pumpkin spice season in Spain. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna read, I've got the Cinnamon Bun Bookshop, I think it's called. I've got that one as an ARC, and I will read that. I'm just not like 100% convinced that this is a series that I'm going to be obsessed with. I haven't yet rated it. I need to think on it a little bit more before I rate it. I don't really know at all where it's going to come out. It kind of feels like a 3.5, 4-ish, but I don't entirely know. But yeah, I need to think on it a little bit. But that leads me on to my next read. So I did another Instagram poll, and I said I wanted something darker to read next. And the options I gave were Tender is the Flesh, Appetite for Innocence. So Appetite for Innocence I've heard compared to The Butterfly Garden, which I read earlier this year and I really, really liked. My third one I gave was Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and The Last Murder at the End of the World. I didn't get as many votes on this one. It has only been up for 5 hours, so I kind of would like to, because basically, even it's been up for 5 hours, and currently The Last Murder at the End of the World is winning, but it's only got, like I said, I haven't had very many votes on it. I think Last Murder at the End of the World had like 3 votes. Tender is the Flesh and Appetite for Innocence have had like 2 votes each. Or Tender is the Flesh and Middle of the Night have had 2 votes each. I can't remember which ones I voted for, but it's not, there hasn't been very many votes on it. So I'm like, well, do I start reading Middle of the Night? No. Do I start reading Last Murder at the End of the World because it's winning right now? Or do I ignore the poll altogether and read Tender is the Flesh? I might read Tender is the Flesh, because nothing says beach read than cannibalism. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. I might pick up Tender is the Flesh. I might pick up Last Murder at the End of the World. Haven't decided. I also haven't decided what I'm doing next. I might go down to the beach and go for a swim. I might not. Like I said, it's 4 o'clock, so it's kind of that awkward time where it's too early to kind of do any like evening stuff, but it's also kind of quite late to start doing like daytime stuff. I don't know if that made any sense. Yeah, don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have a cup of tea, have a snack, and then pick something to read. And I'll catch up with you when I've decided what I'm reading and what I'm thinking about it. Today I wandered a little bit through the old town today. I'm trying to find somewhere to go for dinner, because place where I went for dinner on the first night was nice, but it was a trattoria, so it's like an Italian restaurant. Place I went last night, I didn't really like. It was very touristy, and I just want something that's a little bit more Spanish, a little bit more authentic. But I don't know whether I will find that or where. So I don't know where I'm going to go for dinner tonight, but I think I might go up into the old town rather than stay on the beach. But that's one of my thoughts so far. So I don't know what I'm doing then. Anyway, I'm going to do something and I will talk to you later. Hello, I have just got back from dinner. I'm gonna just insert the clip now in a minute of the amazing chocolate and churros that I had. So good. So good. Feel a little bit sick now. Ate too much chocolate. It was worth it. Anyway, what I wanted to come on and say, I am now 40% of the way through The Last Murder at the End of the World, and I have a theory that I have been thinking pretty much since about 10% in, and I wanted to say it so that I don't get to the end and be like, I knew that, like, but also spoilers. So theorying now while my hand's up. I'll put my hand down when I finish theorying. I don't know right now whether this is going to be spoilers or not, but theories anyway. I think it's going to be a kind of Sims virtual reality, and that this island controlled by Abby is virtual, and the reason that Emery is she's sort of gaining consciousness. That's my theory. I've never read anything by Stuart Turton, so I have no idea whether my theory is valid. Like, I don't know if that's the kind of thing he would do, because I've not read anything by him. I tried reading The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I read the first chapter and I was like, yeah, no, I could read this, and then I went on my self-destruct pile and I never read it. I also own The Devil in the Dark Water, and I keep on looking at it and going, that book's really fucking big. Don't want to read it. Because I do firmly believe, well, I firmly believe many things, to be totally honest with you, but I don't think many books have any right to be over 500 pages. Fantasy can get away with it. I don't think that there is a romance that needs to be over 500 pages. No. What business do you have being over 500 pages? Same with thrillers. You have no business being that big. And in fact, romance and thrillers, I think their sweet spot is about 350 pages. Any more than that, trim it back, babs. Unacceptable. So, The Devil in the Dark Water is like, I don't actually know how big it is. I've got a hardback and it looks like it's probably about a 600 page book. It might not be. It might not be that long. I might be making a fuss over nothing. But it looks big, and I was looking at me like, what business do you have being that big? So I'm not going to read you. You're too big. No. Anyway, that was my little rant. I can't tell you if I'm enjoying what am I reading? Can't tell you if I'm enjoying The Last Murder at the End of the World. I'm not enjoying it, but also I'm not enjoying it. You know? I don't know if that makes sense. Makes sense in my head. But yeah, like, it's, if I go over that way, I'm losing my light. It's fine. I'm just not really loving it. I don't really feel like the mystery is doing anything. I'm 40% in, like I say, and I feel like the murder has happened, but I don't really know what. I feel like the mystery is bigger than who done it, which is why I have the theory that I said just now, because I feel like the mystery is more than who murdered the person that was murdered. Like it just feels like it should be bigger and cleverer than that. And if it isn't, I'm going to be very disappointed. I have heard a lot of people say that they were disappointed by the end, which makes me think, is that because it's the theory that I came up with? And the reason that was disappointing is that, like, even though that's what my theory is, I'll be kind of disappointed if I'm right, because it's not very, it feels like a bit of a cop-out theory. So yeah, I don't really know what I'm thinking yet. But like I said, 40% of the way through. Might read a little bit more now tonight. It's about 10 o'clock now. Might read a little bit before I go to bed, and then go to bed, obviously. Probably will be able to get it finished tomorrow, I expect. I have got my next poll up on Instagram. For some reason, I'm literally just doing like Instagram picking my reads this week, mainly because I am incapable of making a decision for myself. But yeah, so I've got fantasy picks up next. So I've got One Dark Window, Crimson Moth, Divine Rivals, and Foxglove King. I believe the Crimson Moth is winning. I'll be honest, I want to read all 4 of those books. Foxglove King is actually on my TBR. I hear fantastic things about Crimson Moth and One Dark Window. Actually, I hear fantastic things about Divine Rivals as well. So I do want to read all of them. I think Crimson Moth is probably my pick, or Foxglove King, because it's on my TBR. But again, I mean, I'm only putting options on my list of ones that I want to read, so I suppose that makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna get myself ready for bed, and I'll talk to you in the morning. Good night. Hello, thoughts today. So I am still reading The Last Murder at the End of the World, and honestly, I'm a bit bored. I'm halfway through. I'm like 50-something percent of the way through. 58%, and like, I'm just a bit bored. I find I'm stopping reading halfway through a chapter and just getting distracted. Which, to be honest, if I was at home, I'd be like, nah, done, DNF. Kind of because I'm reading on my Kindle, I'm more inclined to continue reading. I don't know why. But also because I'm here, like, I've got other books I could read, obviously. I've got thousands on my Kindle. I've got about 60 downloaded. No, not that many, actually. Maybe about 40 downloaded. I downloaded some more yesterday. So I have, like, many other options. But I'm just a bit, like, not really enjoying The Last Murder at the End of the World. I feel like the theory that I said yesterday, I'm semi-correct with. Like, I'm not a million miles away from what I thought. I still don't know who's done the murdering. And honestly, I don't know if I care who murdered. Because I also just, yeah, I think that's my main issues. I just don't really care. I'm just not intrigued by this story. I'm just not interested. So, yeah, I think, because like I'm 60% of the way through, I probably will continue. But also I could very easily DNF. So speaking of my next reads, let's have a look at the Instagram polls. Because apparently all I do is put up Instagram polls at the moment. So my next poll was on YA fantasy. So I've got One Dark Window, Divine Rivals, Foxglove King, and The Crimson Moth. The Foxglove King is on my TBR, so I would like that one to win. The Crimson Moth is probably the one that I'm most intrigued by. Divine Rivals is winning. That poll has been up for 20 hours, so we're pretty much done with that one. Divine Rivals has got 35% of the vote. It's got 11 votes. Crimson Moth and One Dark Window on 7, Foxglove King on 6. So I don't think that Divine Rivals is going to be overtaken now, which is fine. Ooh, then I've got my next one after the YA fantasy, which is sports romance. I've got The Deal, which is a hockey romance, L. Kennedy. Icebound, KU, also hockey. The Cock Down the Block, American football. I got it on KU because it's got the word cock in it and it amused me. And Home Run Proposal, baseball. It's only been up for like an hour. I've had 4 votes and they're all at the same amount. So yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, I think it looks like I'm going to be reading Divine Rivals next. I might cheat, and I might make my next read actually be the Foxglove King, just because Foxglove King is on my TBR. Divine Rivals is not. Foxglove King is on my Magical Readathon TBR. And I was thinking about this because on my Magical Readathon TBR, the book that I'd put in, I have a prompt which is standalone, and the book that I'd put in was What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I've just realised that it is not a standalone. I was putting it in my next reads. I was checking it on Storygraph for whatever reason, and yeah, it is not a standalone. Whereas The Last Murder at the End of the World is a standalone. Nothing else I've read this month is a standalone. What have I read? When the Moon Hatched is a series. The Marriage Act is a series. And Pumpkin Spice Cafe is also a series. So if I can finish Last Murder at the End of the World, then I can make progress towards my Magical Readathon TBR, because that's a standalone. Otherwise, I could cheat and read the Foxglove King. I'm going to actually look up. What I'm going to do is go on Storygraph. So let's have a look at the Foxglove King, see how long it is, and see rating. So 466 pages, 3.86, but my friend Juliana gave it 5 stars. So there's that. Rivals. 357. So Divine Rivals is shorter. 4.27 and a higher rating. Okay, I think I'm going to go with Instagram. I'm going to read Divine Rivals next, once I've finished. But I'm going to attempt, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I finish Last Murder at the End of the World, so then I can put that towards my Magical Readathon TBR. Then I'll read Divine Rivals, and then hopefully some more people have voted in my sports romance options, and I can pick one of them to read. I'll then have to come up with another option on thrillers. No. Hello. Don't ask me why we are filming in this angle, but we are. Gravity is working against me with the things hanging off my camera. So I've just finished reading The Last Murder at the End of the World. Did not enjoy, gave it 2 stars, probably should have DNF'd. Honestly, by the time we got to the end, I was like, bored. I did fall asleep partway through as well. It was just really boring. Like, when I've just gone through and sort of core-piled it, the intrigue, it was boring. It did not intrigue me at all. And the logic was the other bit that really sort of disappointed me, because the humans were like 180 years old, and at no point was it explained why the humans lived so long. And it just then was sort of like, oh yeah, no, actually humans are shit, so like it bored me. I did not care about any of the characters. I did not care by the end, like who was doing what and who'd murdered who, like just literally zero care. So moving on. The next book that's won is Divine Rivals. And when I did this earlier on the last update, when I looked it up, and it's like 100 pages shorter than the Foxglove King. Foxglove King is actually on my TBR, Divine Rivals is not. But I am going to start Divine Rivals. I did really enjoy A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. So that does... I don't know why, in my head, I don't think I'm going to love Divine Rivals, even though I really enjoyed another book by Rebecca Ross, so there's no reason for me to think that I won't enjoy Divine Rivals. Plus, the other books that were on that list, I've not read anything by any of the other authors. So, I'd One Dark Window, I've not read anything by Rachel Gillig. Foxglove King, I've not read anything by Hannah Witton. I think they're both debuts. And Crimson Moth, I've not read anything by Kristen Cicerelli. I do own another book by her. I own The Last Name Sarah, but I haven't read it yet. So yeah, going to read Divine Rivals next, and then I've got my sports romance coming up, and I believe The Deal by Elle Kennedy is winning that one by quite a way. Yeah. The Deal has had over 50% of the votes. Ooh, let's actually go on there. The Deal's had 10 votes. In second place is Home Run Proposal, which shocks me, which is on 4 votes. So I'm surprised that The Cock Down the Block didn't get more votes. It's got 3. But again, that poll's only been up a couple of hours. 6 hours, okay, longer than I thought. But yeah, gonna read... Hello. I am in fact naked, so I am just not going to move from this position. It's really hot. I'm just come out the shower. So, I'm about 65% of the way through Divine Rivals. It's really, really good. Like, I know everybody's told me it's really, really good, but why did no one tell me it was really, really good? Yeah, so I'm having a really, really good time. Can I stop saying really, really? I'm having a great time reading that. I'll probably get that one finished soon, which is fun. Today I've spent the last about 3 hours on the beach, which was lovely. It got a bit too busy, too many kids. So I was like, it's 12 o'clock now. And I was like, no, too many people, too many children. I'm leaving the beach. So I am back, had a shower, and I'm now gonna just have my like afternoon siesta. May or may not involve getting dressed. I'm here by myself. Who's gonna see? Obviously the internet, but you know, whatevs. Yeah, I think my next book is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. So I'm excited to get to that one. That one is one that's been on my TBR for quite a while, and I'm really, really hyped by it. So that should be fun. But yeah, really enjoying Divine Rivals. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I'd heard it was like a World War I historical fiction which happened to contain magic, and that is accurate. It is. But I do also, I actually really enjoy Rebecca Ross's writing. And some of the quotes from it, I'm just like, oh, love, really liking the main characters. I mean, I can see the third act breakup coming from like 5 miles off. And part of me is a little bit like wishing that Roman would speak to Iris and like tell her the truth, that he is the mystery person. But also I'm enjoying seeing them together, realise that they like each other. So all in all, I'm just having a great time. I'm invested in the romance. I'm really enjoying the plot. Yeah, great time. Who knew that Rebecca Ross was such an author that I enjoy? I mean, me, because I've read something else by her which I really enjoyed, but still, there we go. Yeah, so that's my thoughts so far. I've just finished reading Divine Rivals and my heart. I loved it. It's so good. Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. The ending, I kind of guessed what was happening. I kind of guessed the twist at the end. There is something else that I predict. I don't know if it's spoilers because I don't know if I'm right or not, but potential spoilers while my hand's up. I think Marisol is Enya, the goddess. My theory, just because of the way that she was like, don't worry, nothing will happen to this house while I'm in it. I think she's the goddess. Anyway, potential spoilers theory there. Yeah, it was really, really beautiful. I gave it 4.5 stars. I really liked it. Definitely want to read the sequel. Yeah, great time. I've got to say, my reading this week has been ridiculous. That's the 5th book that I finished this week. It's Friday. I've been here. Is it Friday? It is. It's Friday. I've been here 5 days. I've barely been here 5 days. I left on Monday. Like, I arrived at like 8 o'clock on Monday. I've read a full length novel a day, which I'm fine with, to be honest. Like, I'd kind of jokingly be like, oh, I'm going to read so much this week. And clearly I have read so much this week. But also that's exactly what I wanted. And I've not read anything that's been on my TBR. I have just, and also it's been really nice because I've only brought my Kindle with me. I very rarely gravitate towards books on my Kindle. Like, I will always look at my physical shelves first, and I very, very rarely think about what's on my Kindle. So it's been really nice to kind of be picking up books that I haven't thought about for a long time. Also that I've kind of just coincidentally had like Instagram choosing my books each day, and I've really enjoyed that as well. So currently I'm on the deal. The next poll, which I've got up, I have got clothes on, by the way, now. I'm no longer naked. The next poll I've got up is thrillers, and I've got Tender is the Flesh, which I really want to read. I might sack off this poll and just read Tender is the Flesh. I Did Something Bad by P.I. War, that someone, it looks really, really good. The Last Guest by J.P. Pomer. I mainly want to read that because my friend Lex has recommended it, and he's a really fit author, so there's that. And Guilty by Definition, which is by Susie Dent. Currently, I've only had 7 votes. This poll has been up for like 6 hours, so we still got time. But Guilty by Definition is winning with 3 votes. Tender as the Flesh and I Did Something Bad both have got 2 votes each. So what this is telling me is that thriller polls do not get very many votes. But I think I am just going to read Tender as the Flesh after the deal. None of them, as usual, are actually on my TBR, but I think Tender as the Flesh is the one that I actually really want to read. I do also really want to read Guilty by Definition. I want to read all of them. Probably in order of preference: Tender as the Flesh, Guilty by Definition, I Did Something Bad, The Last Guest. I'm not really interested in The Last Guest. I have no desire to read The Last Guests, whereas I really want to read Tender as the Flesh. I'm very curious about Guilty by Definition, but I have got a physical copy of that one, so that's fine. And I Did Something Bad I'm also very, very intrigued by. The surprise there. I think what I'm going to do, let's go through my Kindle together, shall we? I don't know why I said it like that. Let's look at KU first. I might read Punk 57 because I've had Punk 57 on my Kindle for years. Or I might read another one of the sports romances. Could read The Crimson Moth. I am intrigued by that one. I am intrigued by The Veiled Kingdom. So yes, there's like 3 on KU that I'm interested in. Romance Book Club is intriguing me. And let's look at ARCs. Could pick up The Foxglove King because that one is actually on my TBR. Could continue with Percy Jackson. Just for the Summer. I feel like we are kind of drawn towards the end of the time when I can read Just for the Summer. I think that's about it. So I think I've got there, I've forgotten what I've said already. The Veiled Kingdom. I'm thinking Just for the Summer, The Veiled Kingdom, Crimson Moth, Foxglove King, Punk 57. I think that probably, yeah, I'm going to pick one of those once I've finished Tender as the Flesh. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to read the deal, then I'm going to read Tender as the Flesh, then I'm going to find something else to read. But to be honest, by the time I'm on to there, find something else for so that's a really unflattering angle. Let's move away from there. It's 20 to 4, so I am just going to stay in for a little bit longer, read a little bit of the deal, have a cuppa, clean and tidy and pack. I don't know what I'm going to do for dinner tonight. I don't know whether I want to go out for dinner or eat what I've got in the fridge. Don't know, haven't decided. So yeah, I'm gonna clean, pack, do all of that. I probably will go out, but I don't know where I want to go, what I want to eat tonight. But it's going to be an early night tonight. I don't expect I'm going to check in again. Like I was saying earlier, my transfer is super early tomorrow. So the next time I check in, I expect I will be back in the UK. But yeah, that's where I'm at. So, hello. As you can tell, I am home, properly home now. It's actually Monday morning, and I'm going to wrap this vlog up. Turn that way so I can actually have my face in the light. I'm going to wrap this vlog up now, but I have got 2 more books to talk to you about. So I think the last time we spoke, I was finishing off reading The Deal, and I was debating what I was going to read next. Well, next I picked up Tender as the Flesh. Yeah. I mean, I had a fun time. Well, no, I didn't. That's a lie. I appreciate what Tender in the Flesh is doing. I'm really glad I read it. It's a book I've wanted to read for a while, and I am glad I read it. But I did multiple times have to, I was reading it on the flight, and a couple of times I had to sort of, like, or like in the airport before and on the flight, and I'd have to sort of put it down and be like, okay, let's go on a wander, let's listen to music for a bit, let's do something else, because it's only 250 pages, but it's intense. So yeah, there was that. And then I guess as well with Tender as the Flesh, I will say, if you, obviously it's a cannibalism horror, and it's about what would happen when all of the animals in the world, their meat is now poisonous, so we begin eating people. But I will say with that, if you do not go into this book if you don't like anything where there is animal death or any kind of not very nice stuff to animals, because there are some quite graphic animal scenes which were disturbing. I mean, there were incredibly graphic human as meat scenes. There's a whole slaughterhouse scene which was horrible to read. It's a book that made me so uncomfortable. I don't know. I can't say I liked it, but it gave me a very like visceral reaction. Like I said, it made me so uncomfortable. I think it's a book that I would recommend if you want a very gross, graphic kind of body horror that isn't a scary book, but is just a very gross book. But it's not a book I'd recommend widely. Anyway, so after I read Tender as the Flesh, I needed something polar opposite. I needed romance. So I picked up Icebound by Meredith Brooks, maybe? Meredith Trapp, I think. I think Meredith Brooks is the singer. And I loved it. I'd never heard of this book. It was on KU and I picked it up because I was like, I think I'd just read Icebreaker and I was in my ice hockey phase, and so I picked up this book called Icebound. It's so good. It's so good. I've already downloaded the sequel. It's fantastic. So Icebound, I should probably tell you what it's about. Icebound is a hockey romance with an age gap, and it's he falls first. So basically we have a 33-year-old hockey player who in his 20s was wild, known as the naughtiest bachelor in Nashville. And he's got this kind of reputation of just being basically a fuckboy. But he's in his 30s, he wants to settle down, he wants kids, he wants to be married. And he's kind of struggling because anyone he meets just sort of is like, well, he's a one-night stand kind of guy, you know? He's just a fuckboy. So he basically spends most of his time at home doing cross stitches. Like, with his cat. So we've then got our female main character who is 22 and she's an art student. She kind of on the side does Lyft driving. That's my cat's tail. Hello, boo-boo. She's a driver for Lyft. And she picks up our hockey player, Road. And in the car they're chatting and she's like, oh, so what do you do? And he goes, I'm a plumber. And she's like, oh, so what do you do? And she sort of says, I'm a doctor. I'm a neurosurgeon. Anyway, so he sort of thinks that, he thinks she's a doctor. He thinks she's must be in like her 30s. She thinks he's just like this kind of hot plumber. They get in an accident and they end up, there's a little boy who's having an asthma attack, doesn't have his inhaler, and they kind of wait and like help him out. Anyway, so all of that. We've then got the situation where Rode then, the mother of the little boy basically is a big sponsor, like CEO of a big company, and she wants to sponsor Rode and says, can you and your partner come to this event? And he's like, yes, definitely. And he's like, oh, crap, I now need to persuade that girl to come to this event with me. So they start fake dating. She was very much like, nah, not going to happen. And then when he persuaded her, they then were like, then he was like, whoa, hang on, you're how old? No, can't happen, can't happen. And there is like quite a lot of discussions around the age, like the age gap. She's about to go on a fellowship to Argentina, so she's like, look, if this is gonna happen, if we're gonna go from fake dating to real dating, it's only ever gonna be like a one night stand or like a fling, because you're a hockey star, I'm going to Argentina, you know, we're going to be on different ends of like the world, so no. Anyway, so we got this really cute relationship. I love them together. I love the additional members on the team. I love how they work together. I love that you're seeing, it reminded me kind of books like Icebreaker, or actually also The Deal, where the men are so soft cinnamon rolls. They have this gruff ice hockey like persona, but they are actually soft cinnamon rolls. Yeah, I would say if you have KU, if you can find Icebound, read it. If you like hockey romance, it's so good. It's absolutely amazing. I have also started reading The Foxglove King. I'm not loving it. So yesterday I picked up Powerless by Elsie Silver, which is another hockey romance. Clearly I'm in my hockey romance era. I am going to, probably today, because I've got no food in the house, so I need to go shopping. So I'm probably going to go into town and pick up Daydream by Hannah Grace, which is another hockey romance. And I love The Deal so much that I might be binging that series this month. So yeah, apparently I'm in my hockey romance era, which I'm absolutely okay with. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I started reading Foxglove King. It's just a bit, it feels a bit YA, and it feels a bit kind of sloggy. I'm about 60 pages through, and I know I've got like friends who gave this book 5 stars and loved it, but I just don't know if it's one for me. I might have to ask my friends to say whether they think it's one for me. But yeah, I'm trying to read that one. That one is one of the only books so far this month that I've read that is actually on my Magical Readathon TBR. But yeah, it's, I'll let you know. I will let you know. Anyway, so that's my reading update. Like I said, I'm wrapping this vlog up. I had such a fantastic week in Spain. Really loved it. Exactly what I needed as well. Just like a break, not any work, not doing any work, just chilling and sunsea and sangria. I think I've read 8 books in this vlog, which is slightly ridiculous, but hey ho. And I now need to go to work. Do we want to see how many emails I have? I am very nervous about this. I am predicting the number is in the hundreds. $139 unread emails. That's a lot. So yeah. If you like this video, please leave me a like, subscribe, send me good energy for the 139 unread emails that I have to deal with. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.